I'm Selah Madrid, and this is my story. So when I look at old pictures of myself, I see, I would say, a kid who is lost, who doesn't really know themselves, who was like trapped, basically, and someone who definitely just wanted to blossom, which I'm doing now. I look at myself now. I look in the mirror and I'm like really amazed with how far that I've come since that little kid running around, kind of like hiding. With people who are watching this, the one thing that I would want them to take away from this is that they're not alone. Um, that if you're going through this journey, that the journey itself is very beautiful, and I'd want them to have the courage to share that story with anybody and everybody who's willing to listen. Um, yeah.
Like you mentioned, this being trapped, but her to actually physically say that, um, how does that make you feel as a mother?
It breaks my heart. I'm sorry and sad to say this, where a lot of this with Selah has only just hit me these last couple of years. Um, I don't want her to ever feel like that. I don't ever want her to feel like she's lost or trapped in this body that doesn't belong to her, or I don't want her to ever feel alone or lonely. So it breaks my heart that she ever did feel that way. Um, the kids make fun of me and say that Selah's my favorite, which is, I love all my kids the same, no matter what decisions in life they make or what they decide to do with their lives. But I think because I had Selah so young and because she's the oldest and she was there for all my bigger mistakes as a parent, I think we have kind of a little bit of a closer bond. I mean, Selah had to be kind of like dad when it came to the younger kids and help me out and babysit and, help with putting the kids to bed. And it's hard being the older sibling and, and being that example. So I can see kind of where she feels like, or she felt like she was alone or and trapped. She wanted to set an example for her siblings, but on the other hand, she wanted to be who she is without, disappointing anybody, probably especially me. But I want Selah to know that she doesn't ever have to feel like that ever again. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of all the decisions that she's made in her life. Um, she has set an amazing example when it comes to her siblings, and I would think her siblings would agree with me on that. But I don't want you, Selah, I never ever want you to ever feel like you are alone, because you're not. And I don't want you to ever feel like you're trapped or um, have nobody to go to, or that you're not loved, because you are always welcomed and loved when it comes to me, your stepdad, and your siblings.
I'm Daniela. I'm Selah's little sister. I'm 20 years old, if that kind of gives an idea of how far apart we are. Um, we've always been super close from what I can remember. Selah is someone that you can feel comfortable with confiding in, isn't someone who's going to be judgmental, and if anything, she's a supporter herself. Selah is the most caring and loving person and just like down to earth person that I know, and even helps me work on myself. Just because obviously there's things that I struggle with going through, and Selah is definitely someone I can turn to ask an opinion on, or ask for help with in a certain situation. And I want everyone to know that that's just how Selah is. That's her, her personality and her as a human being, and to never be afraid to approach Selah. I love seeing the outgoing, personality Selah has, and how open Selah is now. And I want everyone to know that, Selah is not someone to be afraid of. Whether you think Selah is different or not, Selah has always been Selah, just in a more comfortable shell, I guess, is how I describe it.
Was it Jessica?
No, it was Jazz, I think.
No, because it was somebody who had their nose done.
I am Spencer. I am Selah's stepdad for the past, it'll be 10 years here in about 2 months. And Selah's a tough kid, and the teenage years, I was there just before I think she was 12, I think, when they first moved in, when Ange and the kids first moved in, and so I got to go through all of her teenage years with her first without really knowing, who she was, and before she came out of the closet, saying she likes girls, and then now with this transition, and when she was a teenager, I honestly say it was tough. It was she didn't know, I don't think, exactly why she felt all the reasons that she felt that way, and all the anger, and plus all the extra hormones she's feeling, and it was tough. We got into it a couple times. I don't know. Selah's always just been Selah, and I'll love her no matter who he wants to be. I'm the type of person that it is what it is, and I think her mom loves Selah for Selah regardless of whatever, and I feel the same way. Like I love him whether he's gonna be him or her, and that's just the way I was raised. I was raised to love people for who they are. I was raised in a religious family, and I mean, my mom was really strict religious, and I don't know I haven't really talked to her about it really, but I'm sure she wouldn't be very happy about this whole situation, but but she's what would you call it? Very judgmental Christian, maybe.
Hi, I am Mariah. I am Selah's second youngest sister. It's an honor to have Selah in my life, knowing that she is now my brother, and I am very grateful for that.
I'm Gabriel Madrid, Selah's second youngest brother, I guess you could say. And yeah, it's definitely strange knowing now that I have an older brother, and it's a hard adjustment, but I mean, it changes every day, I guess.
I feel like it's the same
Yeah.
because Selah, she's still a girl by heart, but is becoming a better person and a man. So it's like another gift, but in one body, and it's honestly probably the best gift combined it together. Knowing that I have a sister and now a brother, like That's probably it. It's kind of confusing, but at the same time, um, Selah will never change. She'll still be a girl and then becoming a man. So
Yeah, same with me. The only real thing that's changing is, of course, she now going by him and like her physical body, but her mentally is not gonna change. Like she's not gonna take on a whole different new personality. Like we've grown up with this Selah all our lives, and now the world is finally experiencing it. This is nothing new to us, and it's not gonna change for us, no matter whether she wants to slap she or he next to her name.
So from that kid, that lost kid that I was before, up until right before I started my transition, and honestly up until like today, I battled with, I wouldn't say depression. I don't like to use that word because I feel like once you throw that word out there, it's like a lot of people just like consume that. So I really trying to stray away from like that concept. But I would say I dealt with a lot of sadness and um, like honestly, like the main word that comes to me is just being lost. The reason why I say that is because even today we were out shooting and filming some things, and we noticed transgender flags out. Hey, look at those. Those are all the transgender flags. So out in front of like the city hall building out here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and from my understanding, those flags are put out there for each transgender who had taken their life, and that's just like it just puts like a lot of weight on my heart, knowing that maybe if I would have came out and done this sooner, um, half of those flags would be out there. So that's just another reason why I'm out here telling my story. Because even if I'm not saving half of those lives, hopefully I can save one or two, and that would just alone mean the world to me.
like I think everyone should just support transgenders and not be hateful about it and always support no matter what.
The bottom line, it just comes down to they're not changing your life, they're changing theirs. They're not interfering with what you're doing, what your goals are, and what your mindset is. Yeah, you can be against it, but sitting there going out murdering people just because they didn't like the skin they were in. They wanted to change, and they felt finally relieved when they finally, do change, and you go out and take their life like it's something that's not okay. And the fact knowing that now Selah is transgender, and there are people out there who do strongly disagree with it to the point where they want to take lives is a bit scary. But still, like, they're just doing them. Like, yeah.
Confusion, didn't have like faith or hope in like my future. I just felt like I was just another person, I didn't believe in myself. I thought many times that like I've gone through like just like anybody, not anybody, but like most people thought I'd be better off like dead, like gone through those phases in my life, and I would say probably about 2 or 3 months ago was one of like the darkest moments in my life. I just felt like really alone, and this is even after I started my transition. I felt like I maybe had made like a bad decision by doing this, just because I didn't know how to put a grasp on all my like insecurities and things like that. And um, then I kind of just spent more time like alone and understanding myself and what I wanted to do. And literally, probably about 2 weeks later, Shay came into my life and we got close. And she sat me down and was like, "Hey, like, would you be willing to share your story with us and let me film you?" And like, it was just like a breath of fresh air. And I'm like, wow, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is what I've always wanted to do. Like, I want to encourage people to be themselves and um, be comfortable with who they are. And that's just like, even outside of like people who are transitioning, just people in general. So yeah.